Hello, and welcome to this introduction to the Grimhollow setting. You may have heard about this grimdark supplement for 5th edition D&D elsewhere, or perhaps you just stumbled upon this video. Either way, if you're a fan of dark fantasy like I am, Grimhollow will be right up your alley. This video will provide a rough timeline of some major events, and also some details of important people and places in Etheris. Mainly, I will be focusing on the Burach Empire. I say a rough timeline because, from what I can gather, there is no exact time frame for certain events to take place, so I've just placed them to the best of my knowledge where I think they should go. By all means, correct me if I get something wrong. I'm using information from the Grimhollow Campaign Guide, the Player's Guide, and Monster Grimoire. So if I leave something out that is covered in one of the pre-written adventures, that's why. With that said, grab your holy water and dust off those eldritch tomes, cause we're going into Etheris. Etheris is a land steeped in sinister darkness and tragedy. A place all but abandoned by divinity and blighted by the madness of insidious and incomprehensible forces. A place where fear rules the hearts of men. Fear of terrible demons that infect the minds of their fellow men, fear of the unknowable things that slither through the night, and the hungry, unnatural creatures that stalk dark forests and terrorize countrysides. Fear of the cruel, unforgiving world that swallows hope and leaves tangible nightmares in its stead. A once great empire desperately clings to the ideals of their dead gods. Tribes of northern-dwelling warriors fight over territory as a primordial force threatens to bring about the end of the world. A civil war between a vampire aristarchy and rebel mages in a land that is permeated in magical shadow, and elves, once pushed to the brink of extinction by the rapid expansion of men, now fights among themselves, hiding behind their grove maze, an enchanted, ever-changing forest. These are just a few examples of the tainted lands that make up Etheris. But Etheris wasn't always so rooted in darkness. Long ago, during the age known as the Era of Expansion, humans multiplied and spread across the continent. The other races of Etheris, mainly elves and dwarves, realized too great the threat that these short-lived men presented to them. The Era of Expansion was given a different name by the other races. They dubbed it the Great Purge, for humanity cut down and drove out every other contesting race. The victorious humans taking their place in every corner of the land, whilst the conquered went into hiding. Thereafter was the Age of Descent, where tribes of humans battled amongst each other, coveting their stolen lands and jealously guarding them from their fellow conquerors. They formed fragile kingdoms, ruled by power-hungry warlords. This infighting between human kingdoms considerably weakened their iron grip on the land, allowing some of the other races to somewhat re-establish a foothold in the places they once ruled. But they knew better than to take on the beast that is human supremacy. Eventually, 4 prominent tribes formed among the humans, creating 4 provinces, kind of like the 4 nations from Avatar: The Last Airbender, but instead of 4 elements, each province has a particular god and ideology. Abbottland worships Oriella, goddess of healing and protection. Northernland paid tribute to Ulumir, god of magic and chaos. Winterland was devoted to Malgent, whose domain was war and honor. And then there was Rawland, who revered Gult, the builder god, presider of order and construction. Though the 4 provinces individually commanded great strength, they could not alone hope to fight off the advances of other kingdoms forever. They each prayed to their respective gods for a solution, and the gods answered. Oriella's priests, known as the Hearthkeepers, began their search for a person pure and righteous enough to become emperor and unite the 4 provinces. After rigorous searching, they found a young boy named Thancred, who had slayed a giant in one town and made a bridge between 2 others to connect them. It is said that when the Hearthkeepers found him, He brought a lamb back from the dead with his bare hands. After witnessing such a miracle, the priests were certain he had been sent by the gods. They fell to their knees and named him Emperor Endorius, first of his line. The four gods each bestowed Endorius with a sacred artifact to mark him as the divine emperor of mankind. Galt gave him a crown that made people listen to him. Malgin gave him a sword that made him jacked AF. Ulmer gave him an orb to spy on people in the bathroom. And Oriella, she gave him a divine breastplate to protect his divine breasts. With the people united under one banner and led by such a righteous leader, there was no one who could stand in the way of the Burach. The people loved their emperor so much, in fact, that the Hearthkeepers instituted the Edict of Eternal Blood, which made it mandatory for all rulers to be direct descendants of Emperor Endurius himself. Like, direct descendants. Like, I hope you like your cousin, because you two are going to be making babies later, kind of direct descendants. Anyway, you could probably see where this is going. After years and years of prosperity and overall good leadership from the Endorius bloodline, Emperor Leopold was born. Even from a young age, everybody knew there was something seriously wrong with Leopold. He treated others as though they were insects, and would regularly have commoners flayed for his amusement. They knew it was a bad idea, but rules is rules, so when it came time, he was named emperor and given the holy artifacts. That day spelled disaster for the people of the Burach, and for the gods that loved them so. You see, the artifacts were directly linked to the divine powers that had created them, and when Emperor Leopold touched them, his madness flowed through them and into the gods themselves, driving them insane. Even worse, in fact, is that Leopold had decided 4 gods is 3 too many, and decreed that people must decide who their favorite god is, so they can focus on worshipping the best one. This obviously didn't sit well with the now insane gods, who began arguing amongst themselves over who the greater god was. They couldn't come to a reasonable conclusion, so they ordered their followers to wage bloody war in their names. It was a time of complete chaos and misery. The gods' war in the heavens caused a plethora of calamities to befall Etheris. Great storms, earthquakes, and flash fires wreaked havoc on the land, as the Burach tore itself apart in a 4-way civil war. Eventually, some like-minded individuals from each province managed to assemble and assassinate the mad emperor. When he died, the goddess Oriella briefly came out of her state of madness. She realized that the war was going to destroy everything, and just at the last moment, she used the last of her power to shield Etheris from the apocalypse. A shockwave rang out across Etheris as the 3 other gods unleashed their final attacks, and after the dust had settled, the gods were no more. This event is known as the Gods' End. The gods may have perished, but not all divinity was lost that day. Arch-seraphs and demons have taken up post over the absent gods, and now are widely believed to be the source of divine power left in Etheris, though it is a mere shadow compared to the power of the gods, who annihilated one another. Now, in the twilight of the Gods' End, people are unsure of what truly happened. The Hearthkeepers teach that Oriella still sleeps beneath Abadland. Others think that the gods left Etheris, abandoning the Burach, and others question whether the gods even existed to begin with. The 4 provinces at least could stop their warring now, but something else was wrong. Reports all across the Empire describe a colossal creature bearing a stag's skull as a head. It prowls the night, killing and consuming everything in its path, leaving curses and perverted deformations of the land's inhabitants. They call this creature the Great Beast. The Hearthkeepers, who have now installed a puppet emperor for them to rule through, have outlawed any talk of such creature. Simultaneously, they have made it illegal not to report any sightings of the beast. Thus, any report of the thing will net you a quick, "Thank you, dear citizen," before being dragged away to prison. Many people of the Burach have lost their faith in the church and its teachings. Thus, they have found alternatives. Worship of archdemons has spread like wildfire, though most won't openly practice their heretical beliefs. This leads to many people going to church during the day and dirty dancing with devils at night. Well, that was my video on Grimhollow lore. What do you think? Did I get everything wrong? Should this be my first and last upload, or would you like to see more? Tell me what you think, or don't. Thanks for watching.